Where you headed in such a hurry?
Just home from work, officer.
And that backpack on the seat? What's in it?
My laptop, some folders. I'm a school counselor.
Mind if I take a look?
I do, actually, unless there's a reason.
You just tensed up on me. Turn around.
No, sir, I'm not resisting, but I haven't done anything.
Hands on the car, now.
I don't consent to a search.
They slammed a black man against the side of his own car at a gas station in broad daylight. They yelled that he looked dangerous because he had a backpack on the passenger seat. But what Officer Hartwick didn't know, what no one knew, was that this quiet black man he was shoving around was the man who trained half the federal agents in the entire state. And when his real identity came out, that gas station turned silent so fast you could hear the wind stop breathing. Before we go deeper into this crazy story, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from, because this one is going to shake you. Hey, I said stop right there. Officer Dylan Hartwick's voice cut through the warm orange glow of sunset like a blade. Reggie Malone froze next to pump number 7, hands halfway raised, his gas nozzle still dripping gasoline onto the pavement. I'm just filling up my car, he said quietly. But the officer was already walking fast, too fast, toward him. That jittery, angry walk that told everyone, this man already made up his mind. Cars slowed. People stared. Phones came out. Don't lie to me, Hartwick snapped. This station has had issues with people like you just hanging around, acting suspicious. People like you. Everyone heard it. That sharp little knife hidden inside the words. Reggie's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. Turn around, Hartwick ordered. Hands on the hood. For what? I didn't. Now. The officer grabbed Reggie's wrist and slammed it onto the hood of the sedan so hard the metal rang. Gas station lights buzzed overhead. The sky turned deeper orange. Phones kept rolling. Reggie Malone did not look like trouble. He stood tall, broad-shouldered but gentle. A 35-year-old school counselor. A calm voice that solved fights between angry teenagers every single day. He wore a faded button-down shirt, old work shoes, and glasses with a tiny crack in the left lens. Most people saw a man who looked tired. That was fine. He didn't need attention. He liked being quiet. He liked being invisible. But hidden under that soft voice and worn-out shirt was a truth almost no one knew. A truth he prayed would never need to come out. Because Reggie Malone wasn't just a school counselor. Before that life, before the quiet job, before the cracked glasses and peaceful evenings, he was Commander Reginald A. Malone, one of the top behavioral intelligence officers the federal government ever had. A man who trained task force units in de-escalation, interrogation resistance, and crisis psychology. He left that world behind after too many nights of sirens, danger, and broken people. But today, danger found him again. Hartwick shoved him again. Why's your bag open? The officer barked. Why's it sitting in the passenger seat like you needed to grab something fast? It's just my work bag, Reggie said. Aha. The officer smirked like he caught him. You got weapons? Drugs? Fake cards? Tell me now. Phones captured every second. Reggie breathed slow. Not scared, just tired. It's personal belongings. And you can't search it without. Oh, I can search anything I need to, Hartwick cut him off. Especially when someone tenses up like you just did. Reggie's head lifted. His brows pinched. I didn't tense up. Yes, you did, Hartwick said loudly, turning to the small crowd. He wanted witnesses. Or rather, he wanted an audience. He tensed up and refused to comply. This is a hostile suspect. Gas station customers murmured. 2 teenagers whispered, Bro, he didn't do anything. A woman in scrubs held her phone up higher. Another man ducked behind a pump to get a better angle. Backup needed at Westfield Sun Mart, Hartwick said into his radio. Possible threat. Black male mid-30s. Acting aggressive. Aggressive. Reggie hadn't even moved. The officer's hand hovered over his holster. Reggie felt it. This wasn't about suspicion. This was about dominance. Fear. Power. And that cocktail was dangerous. Hartwick paced in circles around the car, pointing at random things like they were evidence. What's this? He barked, snatching a lunch container from the front seat. My leftovers. And this folder? Student essays. And this? Hartwick held up a small silver badge. The crowd gasped. But Reggie sighed. That's a school ID pass. It's not. Looks fake, Hartwick snapped. You print this at home? Reggie closed his eyes. The officer stepped closer, invading his space. You recording me? He asked. Yes, because... Hartwick grabbed the phone, yanking it so hard Reggie stumbled. You don't record me, the officer growled. Not in my town. Someone shouted from the crowd. He didn't do anything. Give him his phone back. Hartwick glared, his jaw twitching. This man is escalating the situation. I'm following protocol. Reggie watched the officer. The shaking hands. The heavy breathing. The twitchy eyes. He's scared, Reggie realized. Not of danger, but of being wrong. And scared men made reckless choices. A new sound cut across the tension. A slow, deliberate set of footsteps. Not rushed. Not panicked. Not scared. Someone approached the group, calm, steady, authoritative. A tall man in a black windbreaker. Clean haircut. Dark glasses even though the sun was setting. An earpiece tucked behind his right ear. He didn't look like a cop. He didn't look like a random bystander. He looked like someone used to being obeyed. Gas station chatter died instantly. Hartwick turned. Sir, stay back. Police activity. But the man ignored him, stopping right beside Reggie. Commander, he said quietly. And the entire gas station froze. Reggie closed his eyes. Don't, he whispered. Not today. But it was too late. The mysterious man stepped forward, flashing a badge so quickly the cameras barely caught it. Officer, he said to Hartwick, you just detained a federal-level behavioral intelligence commander without cause. Hartwick blinked hard. What did you just say? The man spoke clearly, slowly, firmly. You put your hands on Commander Reginald Malone, one of the highest-ranked psychological operations trainers the state has ever produced. Gas station silence turned absolute. Even the wind seemed to stop to listen. Phones zoomed in. Hartwick's face drained of color. I didn't know, he didn't say, he looked. Suspicious, the man finished. Is that the word you were reaching for? Hartwick swallowed so hard his throat clicked. Sir, I was following protocol. No, the man said. You were following prejudice. A few people clapped. Others murmured, wow, unbelievable. He's done. The man in the windbreaker turned to Reggie. Commander, do you want a file? Reggie looked at Hartwick, the shaky breathing, the trembling fingers, the fear he now wore like a badge. No, Reggie said softly. His voice carried more power than any shout. I just want my phone back. Hartwick returned it with both hands, like he was offering a gift to a king. Before she could finish, a door opened. Deputy Chief Rollins stepped out, a tall white man with sharp shoulders and cold eyes. He saw Reggie, and his face sank. The receptionist whispered, sir? This is the man you're meeting with. Rollins swallowed. Mr. Malone, he said stiffly. Come in. They led Reggie to a glass-walled meeting room. Reggie stood up straight. For the first time, everyone saw him differently. Not as a tired school counselor. Not as a suspicious man at a gas station. But as someone who carried power silently. Someone who didn't need to shout to be strong. The windbreaker man stepped back as Reggie faced the crowd. People watched with open shame in their eyes. Not shame for him, shame for themselves. For how quickly they believed the worst. Reggie lifted his cracked glasses and wiped them with his sleeve. Fear, he said quietly, almost to himself, makes people see monsters where there are none. The crowd fell silent again. Hartwick looked crushed. Reggie turned to the officer one last time. Next time, he said softly, try seeing a human before you see a threat. Then he got into his car and drove away. The gas station stayed quiet long after he left. Quiet and changed. The sun had dropped behind the hills when Reggie Malone pulled into his driveway. His hands were steady on the wheel, but his heart still felt like a fist. He turned off the engine, sat still, and breathed. Inside his chest, something heavy sat like a stone, the kind of heaviness a person carries alone because the world expects them to. The gas station moment replayed in his head. The slam on the hood, the phones recording the looks, the fear in Hartwick's voice, the quiet shame in the crowd. Reggie was used to pain. He was used to disrespect. But what broke him wasn't the officer. It was the silence of the people who watched, until someone powerful arrived. That silence always hurt the most. Inside his small one-story home, Reggie moved like a man walking through water. Slow, careful, tired. He hung his cracked glasses by the door, took off his old button-down shirt, stared at the scars still faint across his shoulder. Marks from a life nobody knew. He'd been trying to live ordinary, small, quiet. A school counselor. A man who helped kids fix their lives instead of breaking himself for his country. But some days, the world refused to let him be small. Some days, it dragged the old him back. 3 knocks. Firm. Measured. Not the kind neighbors used. Reggie knew exactly who it was. He opened the door. Agent Corvin Strait, the man in the windbreaker from the gas station, stood with another agent beside him. A woman. Younger. Serious. Her name was Agent Nola Pierce. Commander, Corvin said with a nod. Reggie sighed. Stop calling me that. You earned it, Pierce said softly. Reggie rubbed his eyes. Why are you here? Corvin stepped inside without waiting to be invited. Because the officer who assaulted you filed a statement. Reggie's eyebrows lifted. He filed against me? Correct, Corvin said. He's accusing you of resisting, causing a disturbance, and threatening an officer. Reggie blinked once, then twice. You mean the man who slammed me against my own car? Corvin nodded. Do they have the video? Reggie asked. Nola nodded. All of it. From multiple angles. Then why is this even a conversation? Reggie asked, voice calm but sharp. Corvin sighed. Because the man has connections. His uncle is the deputy chief. They're trying to spin a story before the truth spreads. Reggie leaned on the doorway. The weight in his chest grew heavier. So, he said, what do you want from me? Corvin looked him dead in the eyes. We want you to come back. Reggie froze. Pierce added, just temporarily. To help us run a controlled review of the incident. And to show the department what happens when they try to smear the wrong man. Reggie shook his head. No. I'm done with that life. Corvin stepped closer. Commander, today showed you something you can't ignore. Reggie stayed still. Corvin continued, you left the field to find peace. But peace keeps getting taken from you, not because of anything you do, but because of what you look like. Reggie swallowed hard but didn't speak. Pierce said gently, you know better than anyone. When a system is blind, someone who sees clearly has to step in. Reggie looked away. The memory hit him like a storm. 5 years ago. A warehouse. A hostage. A negotiation gone wrong. Reggie was inside, trying to talk down a desperate man with nothing left to lose. He had him calm. He had him ready to surrender. But one trigger-happy local officer burst in early, fired too fast, and ended a life that could have been saved. Reggie quit the next day. He promised himself he would never again work beside men who couldn't see human beings, only targets. Now here he was, 5 years later, facing the same blindness again. Reggie looked at the two agents. I'm not coming back, he said quietly. Corvin's jaw flexed. Pierce lowered her eyes. But, Reggie continued, I'll give a statement. And I'll show up if there's an investigation. That officer needs to answer for what he did. Corvin nodded. Fair enough. Pierce stepped forward. Just so you know, the videos are going viral. You're all over the news. Reggie's stomach dropped. That's the last thing I wanted. Pierce gave a small, kind smile. Maybe. But sometimes change needs a camera. Corvin added, tomorrow you'll need to come down to the station. They're calling you in. Calling me in? Reggie asked. Corvin shrugged. They want another interrogation. Reggie stared at him. Then laughed once, just a breath of disbelief. They really don't know who I am, do they? Pierce shook her head. They have no idea. The next morning, Reggie walked into the Westfield Police Department with the same calm he used for years in high-stress negotiations. He wore a clean shirt, fixed glasses, a backpack, the same one Hartwick accused him of hiding something in. Inside the lobby, officers and civilians whispered. That's him. That's the gas station guy. He looks so normal. Why's he here alone? Reggie ignored them. At the front desk, a receptionist with tight blonde curls looked up and frowned. Can I help you? She asked stiffly. Yes, Reggie said, polite as ever. I'm here for the 9:30 meeting. She squinted at him. Inside were 3 officers including Hartwick. As soon as Hartwick saw Reggie, he tensed like he touched fire. Rollins cleared his throat. Mr. Malone, before we begin? Reggie placed his backpack on the table, opened it slowly, pulled out a folder, pulled out a badge, and placed it gently on the table. A federal-level badge. Real. Heavy. Cold. Hartwick's mouth opened. Rollins' face drained white. Mr. Malone, Rollins stuttered. This can't be. Reggie slid a document across the table. Before you talk, he said quietly, read that. Rollins picked it up. His hands shook. The document listed Reggie's full credentials. Federal Behavioral Intelligence Commander. Crisis Negotiation Trainer. Psychological Threat Specialist. Consultant for multiple federal task forces. It wasn't just impressive. It was terrifying. Hartwick whispered, oh my God. Reggie looked at him. Officer Hartwick, he said softly, you said I tensed up, You said I acted hostile. You said you feared for your safety. Hartwick swallowed thick. Reggie leaned forward, voice calm, level, surgical. If I wanted to hurt you, you wouldn't have known until after it happened. The entire room froze. But I didn't, Reggie continued. Because I wasn't a threat. I was a man filling up his car. Silence. You escalated, Reggie said. You created danger where there was none. Rollins tried to speak. This is a misunderstanding. No, Reggie said. It's a pattern. Corvin and Pierce entered the room from another door. They'd been listening the whole time. Deputy Chief Rollins, Corvin said, we are initiating a formal review of your officer's conduct. Hartwick looked like he might faint. Rollins looked sick. Pierce added, and considering the viral videos, your department may face federal oversight. Rollins sat down, color draining from his face. Hartwick whispered, Commander? I'm sorry. Reggie looked at him. Really looked at him. Not with anger. Not with vengeance. With disappointment. Officer Hartwick, he said quietly, you only apologized because you got caught. Hartwick looked down. Reggie stood. He packed his badge. His documents. His backpack. At the door he turned back. His voice was soft. But it carried like thunder. It costs nothing to treat someone like a person. Nothing. But some of you act like it's the hardest thing in the world. The room stayed silent as he walked out. Outside the station, reporters waited. Cameras flashed. Mics extended. What do you want to say to America? Someone shouted. Reggie paused. Then said one simple line. Don't wait for a title to treat someone with respect. And he walked away. If you felt this story, if you felt the pain, the twist, the justice, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now. And tell me below. Do you think the officer deserved to lose his badge? Why or why not?